Tuesday front page with Cooper and Ahab on 94.7 The Pulse.
A great expert with us this morning to have a chat with us.
It's a very important...
yeah, correct. So,
especially for me.
This morning we've got Amy Hebner, Director of AH Sleep Specialist this morning with us. So with the start of the new working and school year and the ending of the holiday period, a lot of people can have a rough time getting back into a consistent and healthy sleep pattern. With us today to talk us through these issues is Amy. Amy, what are some of the challenges that people face with getting consistent sleep when adjusting to a new schedule, like, for example, school students coming off of the holiday period?
For having me. One of the main things is that on holidays we're all a bit out of whack. We don't really stick to schedules, we're sleeping in, we're having late nights, and going straight back into we've got to be up at this time, we've got to be at this place at this time, that's a real shock to the system. So it's always a great idea in the lead up, so prior to the holidays coming to an end, particularly for young children because they're particularly big on routine, you want to make sure that you're slightly adjusting that bedtime back to what they would normally need. And if you think about a child up to about 10 years of age, they need about 10 to 12 hours sleep a night. So you've got to think in those lines. So if you know that they've got to get up to catch the school bus at 7:30 or they've got to be at school at 8 o'clock or start walking to school, then you've got to factor in, okay, well, now we need to bring back bedtime to make sure they get all that goodness. It's the same with adults, and we're all beasts of routine, so we all love regularity. So in general, having a regular bedtime, a regular uptime is such a benefit to all of us. The vital element of that sleep, I just can't stress enough, because everything that's happened in their day, everything that they've seen, everything they've had to listen about, all of that gets absorbed overnight and reorganised, and that's where all their learning happens. So getting that good consolidated sleep following those days will absolutely retain all of the knowledge and also allow them to be more resilient. Generally, if you haven't had enough sleep, you know how you feel, right? Like your tolerance level is down, your attention span is limited, you just don't have the capacity or the stability to deal with things as well as you would if you had a full night's sleep. So the little people are the same. I find that most of it is in behaviour and also not absorbing all those learnings quite so easily, so they can struggle a little bit in their learnings. My best advice is if you notice any of this anxiety start to creep in, or having a little person that's wanting to change the way they do their bedtime, get straight back to the fundamentals. What have we always done? Keep it super simple and clear. That's what keeps the little people happiest. They're like, all right, I know the deal. Yes, I've tried to push the boundary here, but mum's steadfast, which is what they really want to see. And then also make sure that you've got this belief system that in them, because if they start seeing you bend and change what they used to do, their belief system goes down and they're like, see, mum doesn't even think I can fall asleep on my own anymore and sleep all night in my bed. So you've got to make sure that you're keeping that foundation of belief and that it's an enjoyable piece of time, and also talk about how important sleep is. It's filling up their tank. They're like a car. They're going to be recharged overnight to have a great day tomorrow. Just keep it positive. Try to have conversations about it. So you kind of at about 19 or 20 fall into our zone, which is around 8 hours of sleep. So you still need a little bit more if you're under that age, but around that age, that's where you sit. Now, the thing is you don't want to start to go to bed too late, and believe it or not, still 10 to 11 is really your optimal time. But with all the light, blue light, all of that, it extends it out. So you've got to be conscious of that, and the best advice is get some glasses, so anti-blue light glasses. Okay. I'd put them on from about like 8 p.m. Regularity, right? You don't want to be going to sleep like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning over and over. A lot of the time you don't have the option to sleep in, right?
And I'd implore anyone that's listening to have a look at what Amy does, because it's a really interesting and it's across the board for young families and that sort of thing as well. So we've been speaking to Amy Hebner, Director of AH Sleep Specialists. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Amy.
Thanks so much.
We are going to go to some more sponsors.